So are you looking for a sales consultant or a sales coaching expert? Are your sales in your organization just going down? Perhaps maybe you're having challenges with your sales staff, your relationship. Bringing in a coaching expert for your sales could eliminate all of these nightmares. What is the key to bringing good quality sales for your business and for your team? Well, we look no further and none else than Mr. Ben Brown, CEO and founder of 360 Sales Consulting. Mr. Brown, thank you. Thank you for allowing myself and our team with the Entrepreneur's Voice show to come in and talk about some solutions that your company brings to businesses. How are you doing today?
Awesome. Outstanding.
You know, in our business world, without sales, let's just face it, no revenue is generated. Why does this area plague so many businesses?
Well, first of all, it's not taught. It's not taught in grade school. It's not taught in colleges on a regular level. So most people, the only way and I relate to this, is that sales is a skill.
Okay.
It's not something that you just learn. It has to be something that you work at. With a skill and able to sell, if you're able to sell, you make money regardless. You know, you understand how money is made, the interest, the product, the service that you're providing, or someone else's. So you always can sell for someone else. It's a skill. So it has to be learned and practice. And it also, like I said, with most people that do calling, you know, you have to do 100 calls a day to get that one yes sometimes. And a lot of people don't like sales because it puts them out of their comfort zone. They're not willing to take the rejection, so they pay somebody else to do it.
Well, you know, a lot of coaches and experts say just on the other side of the comfort zone is where success happens. So let's take this back to how this all got started. What made you start 360 Sales Consulting?
I actually started. I've been in sales for a number of years, and I always wanted to teach. It was one of my keys. Most of my family is teachers or preachers. So I had that in my blood actually to teach. And I said, what do I want to teach? Teach something I already know. So I've been in sales for over 17 years. And I've been in a number of networking groups and actually talked to people in another capacity, another company I had. But I always went back to, you know, what do you do for sales? And just talking to people, business people, small business owners, just to find out that they had no experience. I'm like, how do you run a company if you don't have a sales process? Because you're not able to gauge whether you're doing good or bad. You're just winging it. And these people are probably making 6 figures, but they have no sales skills. They don't know what to say when the phone rings. There's nothing, systems in place to figure out, you know, what's being wrong. Is a product overpriced, underpriced? It's just a gauntlet of things that I find out there. It's like hotel restoration. When you go in there, you figure out through the business, there's all these things that they're doing wrong. The key for me is I'm able to analyze it, figure out what the problem is, and either give a couple quick tips or do a full course or a number of things that can actually improve their bottom line. The key I love is that what I teach makes you money. It's not theory. It's not marketing. It's marketing and sales is 2 different things.
So let's jump into that then, because you've said a number of things that are very, very beneficial for a business or for an organization. Let's break that process down. When your clients work with you, what are some of the things that you offer that gets people moving in the right direction?
Well, finding out, first of all, what they're doing. It's analyzing. I actually, in some cases, do an on-site evaluation where I go through what you guys do 9 to 5. You know, what happens when the phone rings? What happens when an email come in? What do you say? Or do a sit down because some people are service provided, a product provided. Sales is sales in that aspect. So I will actually go out when they say alarm installation or somebody who does interior decorating. I'll sit down and go through a presentation with them just to analyze what they're doing. Okay. A lot of people, I find out, they just don't ask for the money. So they don't have the confidence in the product and they don't feel that they're in the right to, and that's a problem.
You know, if you can't ask for the money, people don't know that you want to be paid. Number one, possibly.
Right.
So you got to ask for the money. Are there some systems or some programs that people can look to you guys for, or to your company for? Are there some, you know, proprietary things that you guys offer your customers?
Awesome. We have a program. It's a 10-step program. Teaches you how to sell because a lot of people don't know the basis of it.
Okay.
It's a psychology. It's a systematic. And then what we do, and the reason I developed this system is because it makes it easier because it's front loaded. So if you do each step one at a time, when you get towards the close, you've earned the right because you've done everything beforehand, before the close. So when you get to the close, there's no reason not to ask because you've built up all this value and you've answered all the questions yourself. So you said, there's no reason not to close. Most of the people are scared to close because they don't think they earned it right because they haven't asked the questions.
Can you give us an example of maybe a couple of questions that gives you that earn the right?
Well, first thing, what I find out a lot of people do, one of the dangerous things they do is that they don't properly qualify. So what that means is that if I'm talking to a prospect and I'm going to present to him, you need to find out if he's a decision maker. In some parts, can they afford the product? Because there's a difference between need the product and want the product.
Those are two, here's a lesson, entrepreneurs, as you're listening. He just said two critical nuggets. I mean, golden, shiny golden nuggets. Are you talking to the decision maker, what I just heard, and can they afford? And the difference between, so three nuggets, and the difference between needs versus wants for the organization.
Yes.
That's critical. So I really appreciate you dropping that down because oftentimes people will find themselves, I know early on in my career, and at times we make the mistake, we think we're talking to the person in charge, but then that objection comes up. Well, let me take this to the board, or let me take this to my boss, or let me take this to my wife or my husband.
Well, the key is, the first thing I teach people is never assume anything. Let the process weed out the facts. You're not assuming, because if you assume, it's going to come back and bite you. One of the key points about qualification is that just that step alone saves you time. How many times you've driven to a client's place, pitched them, figure out they wasn't qualified, and then left the quote and then had to call back and come back and you didn't get the deal because you left your quote to sell to somebody else. So there's a number of things saving time. Talk to the people that's qualified, because there's a ton of people out there talking to people that they're assuming is qualified, and they're wasting their time when they can actually take that marketing and that effort to people who are qualified, and you're just double your sales just doing that. Don't waste your time with people that's not, they can want it, can they need it, can they use it, and do they want to solve that problem? The key is you're there to solve a problem. Your service is, unless it's a leisurely or a luxury item, it's to solve a problem. So once okay, I can solve your problem. Great. Do you want your problem solved? You'll be amazed if people say, no. You see somebody on the lot shopping for a car. Hey, you're looking at, just looking at cars. Do you want a car? Do you need a car? I don't want a car. Do you need a car? So when you come with the price and you give them, test drive and they look at it, you want to do that, and no, I'll just keep the car I got. They didn't need the car. They wanted a car. So I'm not going to. So am I going to take somebody who wants a car on a test drive for an hour and sit down and try to pitch them, or somebody who needs a car? So the questions up front save you that time. So instead of going out and saying, hey, let me get the keys to that car and take you out for a test drive, I'm like, so based on everything that if you found a car today, would you be willing to drive the car off right now? No, I'm just shopping. Just kidding. Okay. So even if there was a product or a car and the price was right, you wouldn't even drive it today. No. So why am I going to go get the car and spend 30 minutes with him, and then probably another guy down the lot, and I can ask the same question, and he might be the one. So if I'm in the car test driving with him, I just passed up on customer.
Wow, just that simple. I mean, when people think about sales training, sales consulting experts, we want them to think 360 sales consulting. Tell us, Ben, when a person, or tell us about someone maybe that has gone through this process that you've got to see the transformation. Just tell us about one of your superstar students and some of the success that they're now experiencing, because others out there may feel, wow, I don't know if I can do that. I mean, this guy sounds really smooth and he sounds great and he's got some good points, but how can I become like that?
Well, first of all, it's a process. It takes a while. It doesn't happen overnight. So it's something that you have to be willing to put effort towards.
Okay.
A lot of people are lazy and they just, oh, I got a good product, but you have to sell it. There's a lot of people that have competition out there kicking their butt because people are aggressively selling an inferior product, and you're like, oh, well, my product is worth it, but you're not selling it. So the selling aspect of it, I love to see that look in their face. For me, the best thing is when they actually go through the process, they learn it, and they come back to you and they go, I said this and it worked. They always go, it worked. And I'm like, it worked because you actually learned the process. So, for example, I had one student who, one of the things I told him, there's a number of keys in the process, but one simple step that's always out there is that when you actually give the price, you have to be disciplined and be quiet. Because at that point, you build everything up that you've done up to that one point. The email, the getting the appointment, meet and greet, all this stuff. And you do the presentation, you did all this, and you get toward the end, and then you just keep talking. You have to be quiet because you need to listen. Good salespeople are great listeners. You don't have to be telling all the time. So at the point, he came to me and said, I sat down and I actually shut up and I waited for the guy to say something. I said, the first rule in close is the first one talk loses. So you give the price and you just listen. My record that I had was 10 minutes and 40 seconds.
That's a lot of silence.
Well, it's a discipline. It's a skill. So it drove me crazy, yes, but I knew the rule, don't break the rule. So I sat and I waited, and 10 minutes in, the guy goes, well, and I sat there another 30 seconds, and the guy came back and said, okay, I'll do it. But anytime in those 10 minutes, if I would have came back in and said, I got a lower price, or, oh, by the way, doing this, I break down everything that I did before that.
Silence. I think there's an old adage, there's a time for everything. And in sales, after the price, it's time to be quiet.
Time to be quiet.
Great point. We really appreciate the information that you've provided. Give us a website that people can go to so that they can, connect with you or follow you on your social media and so forth. When you need some sales help, give this organization a call. Give us the info, please.
Well, 360 Sales Consultant is 360 degrees of selling, so all the aspects of it. You could go to 360salesconsulting.com, or you can find us actually on Facebook. Or if you like to call, the number is there. It's 863-274-3898. We try to give a 30-minute free consultation to understand what you're doing. So there's a schedule for that we put in on the website. So if you need help with something and you feel there's a need and you're ready to invest in building a skill that can help you promote your product or services, give us a call. We're always here to help. Sales is for everybody. Everything is about sales.
Absolutely. Again, on the Entrepreneur's Voice Show, most entrepreneurs struggle in this particular area, but sales is the key backbone strength to your business and organization and your bank account. If there's no sales made, it's very difficult to go home and make mama happy or make the kids happy or even get home stress-free. So make it simple on yourselves. Go to 360salesconsulting.com. Connect with the organizations. It's great to interview a local business owner that is really changing things for business owners and helping so many other entrepreneurs. Again, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you
to be able to sit down and visit with you. This is Eric Smith, your host of the Entrepreneur's Voice Show. We'll see you at our next episode. Stay tuned and sell well.